Got a new challenge today, courtesy of our frenemies at the Raiders Report. Mitchell Renz, he was telling me today, he said, Tyler, there's no way you guys can get 1,000 likes in a video. It's been a long time since you've done it. I don't see it happening. Today is not the day that it's going to happen. And I said, Mitch, the Chiefs Kingdom, they're going to hear that message from you. And we are going to prove you wrong right now. So I want to stick it to Mitchell Renz in the Raiders Report and show why we have the best fans, not just in the AFC West, but across the National Football League. Hit that like button, stick it to Mitch, and we'll get started with this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Happy Monday. Thanks for stopping by here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Tyler Jones, your fearless leader, here with you. Thanks for joining us. And we have a new report out that the Kansas City Chiefs are likely to trade wide receiver Hollywood Brown before the season begins. And before we kind of dive in, let's set the scene here for a moment here. The Chiefs signed Hollywood Brown last offseason. They had high hopes and expectations for him in 2024. Ultimately, he had an injury in the preseason. We didn't see him till later on, towards the end of the year, and he really didn't do much for the Chiefs. They signed him in the offseason to a second contract, giving him a second chance. But now with the addition of Jalen Royals into the equation here, do they need Hollywood Brown anymore? Let's tell you what Pro Football Network had to say. Hollywood Brown was our main pre-draft trade candidate for the Kansas City Chiefs. There's no reason to move off that stance after the defending AFC champs picked Jalen Royals, a true X-receiver who could displace Brown. Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy should eat up most of the snaps in the slot and flanker positions, with Juju Smith-Schuster tapping in for some slot work. Brown would seemingly be the favorite over the rookie Royals to play X-receiver snaps. However, Brown was essentially out of the mix in the playoffs, 5 catches on 13 targets, and only received a one-year deal in free agency. There's a scenario where Royals adds a vertical contested catch element that Brown can't replicate, squeezing Hollywood out of the rotation yet again. He's likely the number 4 target right now anyway, with Rice, Worthy, and Travis Kelce ahead of Brown in the pecking order. If Royals flashes with his camp and preseason reps, Brown could easily be on the move. Now, I have a few thoughts on this. Number one, I understand the logic and reasoning where you may be coming from in suggesting that, hey, there's just not a spot for Hollywood with how good this receiver room looks entering 2025. But this is still silly to even consider the idea of trading Hollywood Brown at this point, because as I have told you on this program in the past, we have seen that there are question marks at the receiver position. Rashee Rice coming back from injury. Also, the suspension is possible. Xavier Worthy had his off-the-field stuff. We've seen Juju get banged up. Hollywood Brown, of course, as well. You need strength in numbers. And you are one injury away from all of a sudden needing Hollywood Brown to play a significant role in this offense. So for me, I rather keep Hollywood Brown and pay him his money, which is not a ton of cash, just about $3.5 million, rather than giving him up and not getting a ton out of him. We'll talk about the idea of trading him and some potential trade destinations here in just a moment. But let's go ahead and ask you guys right now, should the Chiefs trade Hollywood Brown? Your chance to be the GM. Here at the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Weigh in on our pinned comment today. Let us know. Type T for trade, K for keep. Sound off and tell us what you think the Chiefs should do with Hollywood Brown. The Kansas City Chiefs Report is the best place that you will find Chiefs coverage each and every day, as we have our news and rumors, live shows each and every Tuesday. We're bringing you interactive Q&A mailbags, breaking news, and more. Even when I was on the road this past week, we still brought you videos here on the channel in some way, shape, or form. We work hard to deliver you the best Chiefs content we can all off season long. The countdown to training camp is on, and we'll cover it right here on the channel. Best part about it, 100% free. Doesn't cost you a thing. YouTube.com/ChiefsTV to subscribe now. Let's get at least 20 subs off today's video. I don't think that's asking too much. Help us out. Subscribe now. You'll be glad you did. Let's talk more about Hollywood Brown as he enters his second season in Kansas City. A former first-round pick out of Oklahoma by the Baltimore Ravens, was then traded to the Arizona Cardinals. He had his best season with the Baltimore Ravens when he had over 1,000 receiving yards, but hasn't really been that same player since. And he played in just 5 games last year after that injury that he suffered in the preseason. And when he returned, did not really have a significant role in the Chiefs' offense. You can see the production ever since his 1,000-yard season in 2021. The numbers have dropped off significantly as he had just 709 yards in 2022, 574 in 2023. And then last year, with the 2 games he played in the regular season, he had 91 total yards, and then he went on to play 3 postseason games after that as well. You look at the Chiefs' wide receiver depth chart, and this is the best the wide receiver room has looked in quite some time. With Xavier Worthy coming off a strong rookie campaign in 2024, you got Hollywood Brown there, Rashee Rice in the mix, and then, of course, the others. Jalen Royals, I think we're all excited about. Sky Moore, I expect to get cut. Juju Smith-Schuster, you can pretty much count on that he's going to give you at least 1 or 2 solid games there. You're in a really good spot. But this team, I think personally, needs Hollywood. That they are better off with Hollywood in the equation than without him because of the circumstances that we just presented to you. And it doesn't cost you a whole lot either. So why would you not want to stick him around, at the very least, as a depth piece on this lineup? And here's the truth of the matter, folks. If you were to move on from Marquise Hollywood Brown, you can't get that much for him anyway. I don't think that there is going to be a big market of teams giving up a lot. I think there would be plenty of teams interested in Hollywood Brown, but I don't think that they would be willing to give up as much as the Chiefs would be looking for. I was talking to some of my fellow colleagues here at Chat Sports, our hosts of other channels, and the consensus we came up with is that Hollywood probably would go for about a 5th-round pick. And with the draft already past us, then that would be, of course, a pick for next year or the year after. So you can't even use that pick at that point either in 2025 because the draft is obviously past us. I still believe that Marquise Hollywood Brown is a solid receiver. Is he ever going to be a number 1 receiver again? No. Is he a number 2 receiver? Probably not either. But as a 3 or a number 4, I can find a role for him in this offense. And here's another thing to keep in mind. I know Pro Football Network in their reporting, one of the things that they pointed out to was that, hey, Kelsey is still one of your top targets. And that's absolutely true. But here's the other thing I would say about this. What we've seen with this offense now, what's changed under Andy Reid, and with what's happened with Travis Kelsey as he's gotten older, is that this offense in the passing game is not being run through Travis Kelsey anymore. It is a collective effort. You need all the bodies involved. And so with that, I think that Hollywood Brown gives me another piece potentially to work with in that mix. And whether it's in the slot or stretching the field using his raw speed, I'll find a way to get something, anything out of him. I still believe that Hollywood Brown could be a good fit in this offense. What about you? Do you believe in Hollywood? As Gus Johnson once said, Hollywood, do you believe? Type B for believe, D for don't. Weigh in the comment section. Tell us if you believe in Hollywood or not. Chiefs rookie jerseys are on sale now at chatsports.com/Chiefs jersey. If you want to get a Josh Simmons jersey or one of the other rookies, maybe it's the Jalen Royals potentially, you can get yours today at chatsports.com/Chiefs jerseys. We also have other jerseys available besides just the rookies. Maybe you need another Patrick Mahomes or Travis Kelsey or Chris Jones, whatever it may be. They're all available at that same link, chatsports.com/Chiefs jerseys to get yours today. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. That's chatsports.com/Chiefs jerseys to get yours now. Now, I think there would be plenty of interest. Now, that does not mean that teams are going to break the bank and give you a ton in draft capital. But if the line is, let's say, a 5th-round pick I think you're going to have a lot of suitors that say, hey, what about us? We'll take him. We'll find a spot for him because there are plenty of teams out there that could use some receiver help, and Hollywood Brown could make a difference on a number of teams in their selective offenses. And I think about some potential trade destinations. I start with the Pittsburgh Steelers. They just moved on from George Pickens, and they need some other guys besides DK Metcalf there. I think Pittsburgh would be very interested. How about Carolina? The Panthers, they'll take anybody at this point. That roster is just disgusting. There is not much going on there. And Bryce Young looked better in the second half of the season, but he doesn't have a ton of guys to throw the football to. Carolina could be a good fit. Chicago, this is a team that they have invested a lot in the receiver position as of late, trying to help out Caleb Williams in that offense. He could reunite with his old teammate Joe Thuney as well. I think the Bears are certainly a possibility. The Dallas Cowboys, we mentioned the George Pickens trade. You got him. You got CeeDee Lamb. I think the Cowboys' offense is slowly looking sneaky good with that offensive line pretty steady. They got some new running backs there. I think Dak is the top 10 quarterback in this league. Hollywood could be a good fit there. And then I'll throw another one at you, the New England Patriots. They brought in Stephon Diggs. Drake May needs some help around him. I could see the New England Patriots potentially being an option as well. So, before we go, what team will Hollywood Brown play for this season? Will it be right back here in Kansas City? Will it be one of those trade destinations we mentioned or somewhere else? Here's your chance to sound off and tell us where you think Hollywood Brown is going to go. Thanks for joining us here on this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. For continuing Chiefs coverage, hit that like button. That'll let the algorithm know you want to watch more of the Chiefs Report and let them know that you enjoyed today's video. Hit that like button. We certainly would appreciate it. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.